Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Woodbine Play of the Day. For Saturday, November the 3rd, I'm Dan Illman, along with Woodbine racing analyst Jeff Bratt, and our Play of the Day kicks off the 20-cent Pick 4 on Saturday, one of the co-features on the card. It's the Grade 2 Autumn Stakes. Let's take a look at this field. We're going to be traveling 1 mile and a 16th on the Tapeta surface. $175,000 is the purse. And, Jeff, this race really goes through the morning line favorite. The number 9, Mr. Haverkamp, 7-5 on the line. Eurico Rosa de Silva takes the mount, dropping off an excellent runner-up effort in the Grade 1 Woodbine Mile.
And obviously he took advantage of the fact that the pace was extremely slow in the Woodbine Mile. He tracked Oscar Performance every step of the way, and I would say for about 4 or 5 seconds I thought, could it happen? Could this local horse win this race? But then Oscar Performance kicked on and was able to pull off a rather nice victory and looks to have a strong shot in the Breeders' Cup Mile coming up on Saturday. The one thing that I noticed right after the race was he struggled with the heat on that day. He had a tough time right after the race. He was hosed down considerably. So they've taken their time to bring him back. He'll definitely enjoy the much cooler temperatures we'll have coming up this weekend at Woodbine. Gets an outside draw, which isn't ideal, but I think there's so much pace in this race that's going to help out his chances.
I agree, and while he ran so well in the Woodbine Mile, you could argue he had the second best trip in the race. Oscar Performance had the best trip on the lead that day. There just wasn't any closing going on. Mr. Haverkamp was very game. He's also proven his mettle from off the pace, and I wonder if that's actually his preferred running style. And when you've got horses like Shakamat and Decorated Soldier in this race, perhaps he can fall into a mid-pack trip coming with a wide run on the turn. But we have to talk about Decorated Soldier, because this horse has just been so good for trainer Norm McKnight, who's entered 3 horses in this year's Autumn Stakes. Decorated Soldier comes into this race off a 3-race winning streak, and last time out in the Presque Isle Downs Mile, I thought it was key that he sat off a horse and still was able to win.
I agree. The versatility factor, and that could be very key, because I think Shakamat is the speed of this race. He's very, very fast, and I think the Decorated Soldier will be right there in the mix of things as well, but as you said, does not need to lead in the race. And this, from a end-of-year honors point of view, is a very significant race, because if he wants to win a Sovereign Award for Champion Older Horse, this would be a nice race to add to his resume. I find it interesting, Dan, here's a bit of an interesting tidbit for you. So he is obviously blossomed on the synthetic. They've elected to sell this horse through the Keeneland sale in November, so I don't know, this might be his last local starts, and then eventually they're going to sell him towards the back half of the season.
And they'd love to get a little more value out of him in that sale with a big victory here in the Autumn Stakes. It would be his second graded stakes victory of this season. Shakamat, we know, is a nice horse. He's probably going to make the lead. I agree with you. But while he's a nice horse, don't you get the feeling he's more of a great target for a horse like Decorated Soldier? And I think there's a likely scenario maybe at the 5/16 pole where Decorated Soldier takes the lead, and now you're going to see Mr. Haverkamp, ratchet up the pressure on the outside. If this pace is fast, could we see the old-timer, Are You Kidding Me, coming with a good run? He's a champion in his own right. Maybe he's lost a little zip off the fastball as he's gotten older, but he still has that back class for Roger Attfield.
The only thing that worries me a little bit with him is he elected to skip the Durham Cup. I'm not sure why that happened. He's not run since August the 12th. There's a bit of a gap in the work tab. But the big thing with him, more than anything, Dan, is he loves the distance. 1 mile and a 16th specialist in this race. You know, he is, whenever he gets out to like 1 mile and a quarter, a mile and an eighth, he just seems to lose his punch. So he is kind of flying under the radar a little bit, and that could be a big, big mistake as far as I'm concerned. And I'll tell you another horse that's really disappointed me this season, but I'm hoping can finally show me something, and that's Gigantic Breeze. I thought last season he would be one of the top older horses on the grounds this year. It has not materialized. And I like the fact that he has now shown an ability to come from off the pace as well. So maybe a bit of a long shot type of price, we could toss him into the mix of things for some wagers like the trifecta and superfecta.
I agree 100%, because I loved the way he won the Autumn last year, like a horse that you could really take in 2018 to take that step up. And I just wonder if that race in the Claiming Crown Jewel just knocked all the confidence right out of him, because he didn't fire it all on dirt in his one and only start on that surface. He was away for a long time, and he's kind of been nibbling lately. But I think he's a little bit dirtied up, because in that Presque Isle Downs Mile, he didn't break. He was far, far behind. He showed a little bit of punch. I thought in the Seagroom Cup it was an okay performance. He is going to have to step it up. But if this pace is fast, I agree with you. I think he can come with a good run. Is looking to strike the real solid 3-year-old coming off a win in the Ontario Derby, just a notch below these older horses. He was ridden with tremendous confidence by Gary Boulanger last time out. He attacked the favorite, took over early in the turn, and then was all out to hold off his stablemate Curlin's Honor. His buyers are a little light, though.
I agree, and I think Boulanger has handicapped this race for us. He obviously rides a lot for Cassie, and he's sticking with Decorated Soldier. So, I think could potentially be a really nice horse for next season. That field was straight 3-year-olds. Mr. Ritz was a little bit disappointing on that day, too, and finishing the 3rd place spot. I think definitely has to step up the game to make that next leap to face tougher competition. Should be a highly competitive race, though. I know that the 2 headliners in here are Decorated Soldier and obviously Mr. Haverkamp, but you've got so many pace dynamics in this race, too. Now, a couple of horses that have got that ability and just have to take it to that next level.
One other horse I really want to discuss is Florida One, simply because of his back class. He was so good way back in 2015, and it's nice to see that he came back off almost a 2-year layoff, and once he was claimed by Norm McKnight, he's picked up his game again. He's probably not the same horse that was popping those high 90 triple-digit buyers back in 2015, but he's still solid and maybe can get a piece in here.
I love the fact he gets reunited with Husbands, too. Husbands won the stake race with him back, in September of 2015, won a couple of stake races with him, as a matter of fact, too. So, the one thing I find about him, too, that's really interesting is he just doesn't seem to stop. He just keeps coming. He just keeps coming. He's one of those horses that doesn't toss in the towel, and I love that. Such a genuine horse. And you know what, for the autumn, sometimes we get a bit of a smaller field. That's not the case for this year. At the end of the season, I think a lot of horses, there's no big guns in this race as of yet. So hopefully we find out who is victorious in the autumn, and maybe we get some real theater on our hands coming up this weekend.
So we're kicking off the pick 4, 20-cent pick 4 at Woodbine on Saturday with the autumn stakes. Mr. Haverkamp, lots of folks are going to be singling this horse. Will you be one of them?
I will not. I'll go too deep. I'll toss in Decorated Soldier as well. I respect him too much to key in on Mr. Haverkamp.
Mr. Haverkamp would probably be my lone A if I was playing a ticket maker pick 4. But if I was using B's, certainly Decorated Soldier in the form he's in. And maybe, just maybe, this 3-year-old looking to strike has another forward move. He's so lightly raced and he's just in raging form. He would be my B as well. But Mr. Haverkamp, an immensely popular horse, he's the one to beat in the autumn stakes in our Woodbine Play of the Day.